أترك الميكروفون معنا الدكتور وليد فارس.
وليد فارس وصل. ثانك يو، شكرا. أهلا وسهلا دكتور وليد.
أهلا بكم.
يا ميت هلا بيك دكتور وليد، أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا من واشنطن دي سي. Let me just say who is Dr. Walid, so that I'm going to ask you in English Dr. Walid, and then ثاني شو راح تتكلم باللغة العربية. Dr. Walid Faris, he's senior fellow from the Foundation of Defense of Democracies, and he's advisor to anti-terrorism causes in the U.S. Congress. Welcome, Dr. Walid. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions. You know what happened last Sunday, and my first question to you is, how do you assess the massacre of Baghdad church last Sunday?
My dear friend, what has happened in Baghdad, in that church last Sunday, is nothing but a massacre committed by jihadi terrorists of Al-Qaeda and of those who are inciting Al-Qaeda against a unarmed community, the Christian community of Iraq. This is a massacre which, along with previous aggressions against the Christian community and other communities in Iraq, is a breach of human rights, is a breach of international law, and it is a war crime. This has to be taken to the international institution. This is not an incident. This is not a security incident. This is a war crime against a community. This is the kind of war crimes we've seen in many places in the Middle East. This is the kind of war crimes which took the international community to Bosnia and Kosovo and East Timor. There is a 1 million Christian community in Iraq of Assyrians, Chaldeans, Syriacs, others, Catholic, Orthodox, Protestants, who are and have been under attack by these jihadi forces. And it is time for the American public, for the international community to come to the rescue to this endangered community.
And one more question, Dr. Walid, is, do you think, the question is about our Iraqi government now. Isn't Iraqi government responsible for this? And what are your recommendations for the U.S. and international communities?
Well, of course, from the moment the United States declared it has transferred security responsibility to the Iraqi government, it is incumbent on the Iraqi government and institutions to ensure the security of all communities, specifically the weakest and smallest and unarmed community, including the Christians of Iraq. Now, the United States government has to do its utmost to be able to put pressure on the Iraqi government and the international community to provide a special status of protection for the Christians of Iraq in the same way that special protection status has been granted to many other communities in southern Sudan, in Kosovo, in Bosnia, in East Timor. It is now time for the United States government, which forces are on the ground in Iraq. It is unthinkable that these things are happening while our forces, while our assets are in Iraq. So we call now on the U.S. administration, on the new Congress, to do all what they can so that there will be an investigation of what has happened and that the issue will be taken all the way to the international community.
Right. And although you answered part of my last question, maybe you have another comment. The question is, what other steps are needed to be taken against this problem and these tragedies, if it might happen in the future?
Dr. Bassem, first of all, what we need to do is that to understand that this is not an isolated incident.
No.
This is not part of the sectarian strife, as they say, ordinary business. We have seen over the previous weeks preceding that massacre, people from various areas of the Middle East. We have seen officials. I'm going to name the organization. The International Organization of the Clerics led by Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardawi, a high official on Al Jazeera, has been leveling threats against the Christians in the Middle East, beginning in Egypt. And then later on the websites, in the chat rooms, jihadi organizations taking those threats. And now Al-Qaeda has issued a press release officially declaring war against the Middle East Christians. It is very serious. It is incumbent upon the international community to begin a special initiative for the protection of the Christians of Iraq.
Thank you, Dr. Waleed. God bless you. And next show, we will have another interview with you. God bless you. Thank you.